Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in to another episode of VGAPR Garage. Today we're going to be working on my new, old 2003 Saab 9.3 2.0 with the small turbo. So the issue we're going to be fixing today is there's a leak on the valve cover. It's not a very big one, but the price of the kit is so cheap, so I figure I might as well go ahead and do it. And we're going to replace the spark plugs. This vehicle I purchased with 168,000 miles on it, and it still has the original spark plugs. Testimony to NGK spark plugs, but they're only rated at a 60,000 mile life, so it's definitely time. Suffering from some power issues under load, which could be contributed to spark plugs, but I think it's the alternator regulator, which I will cover because I'm not putting a whole new alternator in it. So let me see if I can show you the leak. So right down in there is all oil, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. I don't see it anywhere else, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and I'm going to walk you through how to get the job done. So let's go ahead and get started. Camera wasn't, or I messed up. Anyways, you want to remove this beauty cover. You got 3 gallons and a little thing that it pops into down there. Move it to the side. Then since we're here, let's remove this cover for the coil patch. There we go. They're all free, just pops right up. Oh, there it is. Then I'm not actually going to remove the spark plugs. There's no need to disconnect the spark plugs or the coil pack boots because they can just swing all the way over, so you might as well just go ahead. Let's bump up that a little bit more. Take all the bolts out. There we go. Put them in your magnetic tray, and then the whole thing, all of them, pop up. Now if you have a question about like what the firing order is, I'm not too worried about it, or the order that they go back in. These are all, you can't really mess it up, but you can like number them if you're worried about it. But they all will just pop up. Just gonna pull them to the side. So there we go. Now we've got to remove this wiring harness tray. And it looks like it's just some 10 mils. There we go. Some take the nut, some take the whole bolt. Be mindful of that. It's the whole bolt. Let's go ahead and grab my magnet. This one, no, it doesn't want to pop out. There we go. Oop, my fingers caught. Let's put those there. I'm going to figure this corner out. So that's up. It's almost like it's still held on by something. And I actually think it's held on by that. No, there we go. So there we go. So I want to get this one out. Can't. That actually is what holds down the valve cover gasket. This one. So basically, we're completely free. Like you can get access to the valve cover. There's an electrical connection right here. Push down the tab, pull it up. Then right here, you've got a. Pretty sure that's part of your brake booster. Find my good tool. Actually, I think this one might work perfect for it. It's made to work with hoses. Just gonna go a little bit further down it. Grab the hose clamp, which buggered that one up. Let's get the regular one first. But that, normally the brake booster hoses come off easy. They're not ones you gotta really pull on to get off. So, yeah, see, it's already loose. Let's go ahead and push this clamp back, and then that literally just pops right off. Now, the other thing I want to do to make this job a little bit easier, I want to remove the top of this air box just to make this job easier. Disconnect that, just pushing those, hopefully that's still in frame. And then there's a bunch of screws all the way around. You have your mass airflow, which is behind here. You may not need to disconnect that. That would kind of be up to you. The other thing I'm looking at is we got a bunch of stuff right here, and it's held in with a 10 mil right here. All these lines and stuff are held in with that. So get that up. Don't lose it. And then now, oh, looks like there's one right there too. So this really does need to pop on off. It's not ridiculous to do. Flathead, and it'll come off, then this whole thing will move out of the way, and you got some Allens that you have to undo. I'm gonna go ahead and undo that off camera. There's just no need to show that. Alright, top of the gearbox is off. That's undone. This connection's interesting. This little thing here you actually have to pull out and then allow it to come off the master flow sensor. Alright, so now we need to free this up. We got another 10. Now that's free. All this should be free from this side of the, and it is. All this is free from this side of the valve cover. I broke my glove. It's okay. You want to be careful because I believe these are gas lines. You just want to be able to get enough room. And then right back here we have a negative that's connected. That stud just popped up. Negative is right here. It's a big thick negative, not the what looks like solder sock stuff that breaks easily. Okay, so in theory I'm hoping everything is disconnected. So now we can go in and actually, we got these in here. Let's go ahead and do these first. Now we get to these. This one. Oh, let me grab an extension to make this a little easier. The one right here, which is kind of covered up by the fuel lines. I just want to bend them back enough to be able to get the 10 mil in there. Slightly bent the bracket, but the bracket will go back. Oh! We're gonna have to find that. It's not good. Alright, so another one fell. Alright, so I gotta go find those and then I'll be back. Alright, so what I ended up doing was actually, these don't actually get stopped by anything. Some valve covers they'll be stuck in. These were able to pop out, so I actually went through and pulled them all out because I was a little nervous. I didn't want to lose any more. They were easy to find. One went on the engine subframe and one went on the turbo. So now, to get it off, easiest way, grab the nipple for the brake power booster and pry it up. I think we got something these up. Popular today. A little stuck. There might be another bolt somewhere, which I doubt. What I think is getting caught up over there. It's acting like it's getting stuck on those two bolts. There's two bolts over here. I believe that's for that's a hydraulic brake thing, and then you have the right here is the thing for the power steering. And I think the only way this thing really comes up is you're able to pry it up and then move it over to the side. The problem is I've only got one side up. There we go. So now the whole thing should, all we need to do is slide over just a little bit. Stuff out of the way. It's a little bit of a tight fit. Actually, it's a really tight fit. Alright, another thing we're going to do, give more room, undo this heat shield. I actually have undone this before when I first got the car, so they came out easy. And I put some anti-seize on it, but now this little bracket moves a little bit up out of the way. Now we can go ahead and get it up. Man, this fuel line bracket is kind of annoying. It's very annoying. There we go, we got it up and out. It's a dirty thing. Alright. So now, you want to clean these surfaces all around here, just with some brake cleans, more than enough to get it done. What I'm looking for are remnants of silicone. Then that way you'll know where you have to put some, because some, like the front timing cover, will be a separate piece from the cast and everything else, so I have to put a dot there. But this whole thing seems like one large casting, the cylinder head, so you don't really have to worry about it. And then I got to clean where I got a little bit of particles and stuff. Which probably should have vacuumed first. But for the most part, besides some burn, but I think it's because it's a turbo, everything under here looks good. The most important thing that I looked at, the timing chain looks good, because you can find where they flop down, you're kind of screwed. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up with some brake clean. I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to clean this surface off, and I'm going to clean some little bit of dust particles, clean it off, and then we'll go to the bench where I'll show you how to put the gasket on the valve cover. Alright, so all the mating surfaces are nice and clean. I mean, if you see, there's that really nice fine white line, or a lighter color line, if the camera would focus, like right there, that's pretty much where the gasket sits. So like all along here, did a good job. Everything's done, clean nice. I went ahead and did over, I do it overkill. But anyways, those are the hardest part to clean, is going to be these valleys down in here, and this corner right there. That's going to be the hardest. If you use, I just use the blue shop towels. Just make sure that there's no shop towel left when you do it. And like I said before, it's just some brake clean. That pretty much does it. Brake clean on a towel. Don't spray brake clean on this. Spray brake clean on a towel, then clean your surfaces. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move to the valve cover gasket. Alright, so here's the valve cover. I'm sorry about the lighting. I know it sucks. Something I definitely need to work on in the garage. But now all you want to do is find a place to pry on it. And right here, there's like a little nipple thing. Then I'm going to try and get free. There we go. And then you're just going to work all the way around. I wouldn't say this gasket's like horrible, but okay, this gasket's horrible. It's like rock hard. So this gasket's shit alright. Wow. to get off of there. Like the outside of the gasket is pretty pliable, but these inner pieces right here, which I think are oil galleys or something. Or, I don't know. Yeah, I think they're oil galleys because the oil comes up, it can fit up in there and then shoots down here and then back down into the belly of the engine, the oil pan. So, wow. Okay, so that's garbage. Make sure we got them all. Definitely got them all. Then we got these bad boys right here. Where I know some of you are freaking out. Don't use a flat head. Use a pick, and I think that's what I'm gonna get. But you guys are kind of in the way of me getting a pick. I'm gonna walk all the way around the vehicle. Alright, so now let's try and get this bit out. These are hard as rocks. More like hard as wood. I wouldn't say rocks, they're definitely hard. There we go. Now I'm pushing on the gasket, I'm not pushing on the head or the valve cover. So I'm just pushing forward on it. That is more than enough to get it. I'm surprised that the spark plug tubes didn't have oil in them with how crappy these are. Definitely glad I bought this. I'm probably going to fast forward through this entire thing, so most of it, none of you are going to know. So there we go. Ta-da. So now I'm going to go out with the brake clean and clean this whole thing off. So I went in and cleaned it, took a drill and a wire wheel to the outside of it because it was looking like shit. So here is the part number from Felpro. Hopefully you can see it. Does it do anything? There you go. And that works for Chevy, Saab, and Saturn. Because it is the 2-point-something Ecotec engine. So anyways, open up, we got ourselves a beautiful gasket set here. I love Felpro stuff. It's all I use for gaskets. So these only go in one way. And just start putting them in. So that's how you install the gasket. You want to make sure that it's nice and in. It does like literally sit in. I like to lay it out first. I don't want to set it in first. I want to lay it in where it's supposed to go. Then once everything lines up, because you've got some sharp angles here that you have to make sure fit in or you're going to have a leak. So yeah, so this is done. Alright, so now it's time to put the valve cover back on. I did not end up using those grommets because they kept breaking. They were incredibly difficult to get on, and when I did get them on, the bottom part broke. So I said, screw it. The ones that I took off the car were perfectly fine. So yeah. So you want the heat shield's got to be moved out of the way. This has got to be moved. Got some tubes. Then we got this big harness here. Or not harness, but bracket with the gas lines and some other tubes. we go. So now the gasket for the whole thing is essentially seated right where it needs to go. You want to make sure that it's underneath all this stuff over here, your power steering pump and your oil vacuum pump for your brake booster. I did spray down all the rubber with some lithium grease. That's just to make it easier for them to pop into the valve cover. Just starting them by hand first, and then we will begin the tightening sequence. So, turns out there is no sequence on how to tighten these, but normally it's inside out. We're just going to snug them up. We got them all. Now, there is a torque for this. Alright, so now we're going to torque all these down. So now let's begin the reassembly process. Just putting some anti-seize on some bolts that I feel need it, so that in the future, if they have to come off again, they will come off. 1, 2. Bump that up to say 2. That one. Now, that goes in there. That thing goes there. Mistaken. I think. Nope. This one here. Don't forget to put the negative ground strap right here. Otherwise you'll have some issues. Wiring harness goes right on top of that. For mine, this one got stuck. And then we just have 2 nuts there. 2 nuts! There we go. The other nut. This one here. There we go. There we are. Then we got the 2 that go there. This bracket I bent a little bit so that I could get the bolt. Oop. There we go. One more. This one right here. Come here. Ah. go. Now plug in your vacuum for your brake line or brake system. Or I think it's for that. Not really sure. Need to read more up on this vehicle. Alright, we got this hose clamp. We want to pop that back up here. There we are. And then we got our air box. We want to put the connection in. Kind of push it in, and then push the tab and it locks it in. And then go ahead and pop it on. There's an alignment tab. There we go. You make it very difficult to do, actually. I think that goes up and down, and then put it in. There we go. Now we take this tool, attachment. Oh, that would have been bad. There we go. And then we got this hose line right there. Pop that back on. There we go. Tug on it, make sure it's really on. Alright, so I'd recommend if your spark plugs, if your coil pack boots don't have it, that you go out and get some dielectric grease and put a little bit of dielectric grease in your boots. Make for a better connection. Plop them down in. Got number 2. That's good to me. Number 3. And number 4. All in there. Make sure that the wire to it is down in there. Alright. And we got our 4 bolts. Hold them in. Starting by hand, of course. I don't know if you can hear that, but there are some cats out there fighting up a storm. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Then we got this pretty cover, which is kind of dirty right now. Alright. Only one way it goes on, it's got to fit the spot for the oil cap. There we go. Go ahead and get those 4 bolts right here. 3 and 4. Swap this out for that Allen. Tighten them up. Go. Now we got our beauty cover. There we go. There's a hole right there. Oop. this one. And that one's taking a beating from the previous owner. But that's how you replace the valve cover gasket on this 2003 Saab 93. Variant goes for, I think, all the way up to when they were discontinued or failed to be sold off at a good price by General Motors. Well, the thing is, I believe, who wanted to buy them? There was a company in Europe, I think, that wanted to buy Saab and turn them into an electric car, but I guess the price wasn't good enough for General Motors during that whole thing. Same thing with Saturn. If you know about that, Saturn actually wanted to be bought by Penske, the moving company, but it wasn't a good enough price, and there was issues with China having to deal with copyrights on the engine. There's a little fact for you there. But if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why. I like to get back to everyone's comments, or if I'll read them if I'm a little rude. That's just me. Clean your tools, put them away, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.